They can outsource that. Yeah, definitely. But we're not here for that. We are here to wait, who said hi? Oh, Void's here. Perfect. Thank you, sir. All good. So welcome to PTRU number 3 for this raid. We're going to go over a couple of bosses as per usual. A couple of things. For those of you that are here, please send Buckus a DM if you have any ideas of things that you would like to add to our sheet for feedback. He's going to have a survey as far as like for the raid, and that feedback will be valuable for sure. But if there's something that you don't see, I believe he posted it, right? Didn't he post the form that he's planning on doing? Let me see here. Minimum number of mounts, okay. I'm out. All right, so yeah. Oh, so he listed in his post what the topics were that he's going to cover. So between loot, vibes, roster, timing, lockout, PTRU, if there's anything else you want to add other than that, shoot Buckus a DM and he'll add that to the form. And he should be sending that out soon, probably like this weekend. So keep an eye out for that, and be ready to provide thoughtful feedback if you have it. And also, other than that, those of you that are catching PTRU here asynchronously or watching the recording, please shoot me a DM when you do that. I'd like to give you credit for watching that asynchronously, so please do that. Don't forget to do that. That'd be great. All right, but that's all the disclaimers. Let's go over our first boss that we're going to go over here, which is Sprocketmonger Lockenstock. Easy for me to say. So right off the bat, this is like a conveyor belt boss. He's like the manufacturer guy in the raid for all things destruction. And so this is relatively chaotic. I'm going to continue with the format that we started with last week, where we're just going to watch it through and see what we can catch, things that we can notice. Feel free to hop on mic whenever you notice anything interesting, and we can talk about it. And then we'll go through the dungeon journal and talk about like the specifics and how those mechanics that we just saw work, and then try to analyze it, and then we'll watch it one more time. And let me know if you need anything else from that, or want to add anything. But let's get started with that. Sprocketmonger, Lockenstock. There we go, it's catching up. Okay, so I put something on the ground here. Yeah, it's supposed to be. We don't need to hear their jibber jabber. We just need to hear each other and watch. Okay, we got some beams. Looks like there's some electricity, and now they are transitioning to the other side of the room. Okay, he's targeted with some swirlies, and drills come out of the ground. Looks like there are guns on the left side of the room. Shooting rockets. The Wowhead rockets are coming on. Look at these. Woo! Okay. There's more things on the ground. There's more electricity. There's magnets in the middle of the room. Okay. There's more drills. How do magnets work? Indeed. Sonic Baboom. Wire transfer. The boss is casting. Okay, there's more things on the ground. So they're talking about it. Looks like there's a vulnerability for this when you're setting this off, kind of similar to a lot of bosses, but more recently, Painsmith had those little foot things you stepped on in a certain order. It looks like they had 4 people assigned to it. Now we're in some kind of intermission. It's pretty chaotic. There's swirlies on the ground. He's casting something called Bleeding Edge. And then it just kind of ends. The room was dark. No, it's not. Okay, more bombs with vulnerabilities. Raid health going crazy. And now we have new things coming in. Void lasers on the left. Okay, and that's a void laser. And it seems like it does a lot of damage to the group, even if you're not standing in it. Okay. Wowhead rockets during the void lasers? If those things one-shot, that is crazy. Doesn't look like they did on Heroic, but Zam. Okay. Lots of overlap. There's electricity on the ground, the void lasers, and they're setting off some of the bombs on the ground. So it's like a triple overlap right there. Very rough. Okay, and then they decided to repull it. All right, so we got some information there. Anybody notice anything that they want to add that wasn't talked about? LOU. Sprocketmonger. The abilitize. Okay. So, Lockenstock halts the conveyors and electrifies them, inflicting, okay, like 500,000 nature damage to players within the area every 0.2 seconds. Okay, that happens pretty quick, so that's actually some DPS. He activates all of his inventions. Interesting. Okay, so there's the Blazing Beam, the Rocket Barrage, and the Mega Magnetize. So the beams we saw first, fire for 4 seconds, inflicting 2.8 million fire damage every 0.2 seconds. So that'll kill you in about a second standing in it. The Barrage, massive rocket every 2 seconds for 4 seconds, inflicting 3.1 million fire damage upon impact. Maybe like about half your health if you get hit by one of those rockets, something like that. If you're going to get hit by one, maybe pop something. The invention pulls players towards itself for 5 seconds on the magnets. Upon contact with the magnet, players become stunned for 6 seconds. We didn't really see too much of the pull there, so that might be something to keep an eye out for. Okay, who just joined? Was that LK? I think LK's here now. Hello, welcome. All right, cool. So he empowers some of the inventions with Void. So we saw that before. Jumbo Void Beam unleashes a massive beam of Void energy, 3.4 million shadow damage every 0.2 seconds for players within the effect. What was interesting, there's some other damage going on at the same time because they weren't in the effect, but the whole raid was taking a bunch of damage there. Void Barrage, the invention lodge is a void projectile every 2 seconds for 4 seconds. Touching a projectile inflicts 2.1 million shadow damage and triggers a void splash. This might be the Wowhead rockets towards the end. Maybe they drop a void zone. Not sure. I don't think we got far enough to see that in this poll. Okay, big skull on this. This is heroic difficulty, lethal foot blasters. And so, okay, this is the thing on the ground that we saw. Lockenstock launches several landmines into the room. Stepping on a foot blaster triggers an unstable explosion and embeds unstable shrapnel into the triggering player. In addition, these reactive mines detonate on contact with inventions or wire transfer, which I think is the tank mechanic, but we'll go over that in a second. Triggering an unstable explosion. Okay, so in addition, so unstable explosion seems to happen whenever you trigger the foot blaster, or it's triggered by the any of the other mechanics in the room. Unstable explosion is it explodes, inflicting 1.8 million fire damage to all players and causes them to take 200% increased damage from unstable explosion for 2 seconds. So what, that's like 3x of that. So it's almost a one shot if you trigger one of them within 2 seconds. So this is a heroic mechanic that's kind of like a coordination check. So we need to have like players assigned because there's shrapnel. So touching a foot blaster causes fragments to embed themselves in the target, inflicting 1.2 million fire damage and increasing damage taken from the shrapnel by 1000% for the next 2 minutes. So for 2 minutes, we need to have like a rotation of players that are setting off the foot blasters, it looks like. Wire transfer. Okay, Lockenstock overloads the capacitors around the factory, causing a section of the floor to become electrified. So it isn't the tank mechanic. Standing within these areas inflicts 2.8 million nature damage every 1 second and reduces the movement speed by 40. So you can walk over this electricity on the ground, it looks like, but it is pretty dangerous, but it's possible. Okay, we got a mechanic here called Screw Up. Lockenstock marks players, inflicting 755 nature damage and causing a deadly drill to emerge at their location every 1.5 seconds for 4.5 seconds. Touching the drill causes the player to become screwed. Screwed is a bleed. Touching a drill punctures players, stunning them and causing them to bleed for 500,000 physical damage every 1 second for 6 seconds. So these are pretty annoying, but not lethal in and of themselves. So what I'm gathering from these heroic mechanics and the way that it looks like they're tuned is that each mechanic themselves is not too deadly, but it's like overlaps can be issues. So you don't want to be taking any extra damage. This is marked as a healer mechanic. Sonic Baboom. Lockenstock fires an enormous blast of gravitational energy, inflicting 1.2 million sonic damage to all players. And an additional 300k sonic damage every half second for 10 seconds. Okay, so there's like a lot of dot here. This might be what was happening during the void beam, maybe, that I was noticing there was a lot of damage. Not sure. I don't think I ever saw him cast Sonic Baboom, but it's there. The Blisterizer Mark II. So touching a trap causes it to snap shut, launching the player into the air, inflicting 250k fire damage every half second. The pain of the fiery blister additionally increases movement speed for by 60% for 6 seconds. That's interesting. Okay. Blisterizer Mark II. I think on these little conveyor belts over here, there are little traps that come across them every now and again. So that might be something to note, that's there. Very interesting that it increases your movement speed though. Not sure if that's something you want to actually utilize. Lockenstock gifts his current, this is called Pyro Party Pack. Okay, so this is the tank mechanic. Gifts his current target a package of explosives. Why, thank you. After 6 seconds, the recipient explodes, inflicting 6.2 million fire damage to all players. Players further from the impact receive less damage. So tank runs out, gets exploded. Okay, we've seen that before. Another tank mechanic, Gravy Gunk. Lockenstock's attacks cause energy to cling to the current target, increasing all damage taken by 15% and reducing their movement speed by 5%. The effect stacks. So this is kind of like anti the two mechanics. So if you take too many stacks of this and you're too low on movement speed, you can't get out and get the fall off damage. So you don't want to have too many stacks when he delivers Pyro Party Pack. So maybe the new tank taunts or Pyro Party Pack? Not sure. Just something to think about. Okay, so stage 2 was the Bleeding Edge stage. We saw that when it went dark. At the beginning, he cast something called Beta Launch. Upon reaching 100 energy, Lockenstock flings pesky players away from him and begins channeling Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge explodes new tech, upgrading an invention type to the void energies. In addition, the unstable chemicals unleash a void explosion every 5 seconds and torrents all of the black blood splatter rain down on the facility for 20 seconds. Void explosion, about 1 million damage to all players, and there's 1.8 million healing absorbed. And these are the swirlies on the ground. Interesting. They don't hit very hard. It's like under 1 million. It's like 1/10 of your life or something for the swirlies on the ground. Usually swirlies are much more deadly than that. Okay, but maybe with the void explosion damage going on, that's enough. I don't know. Upgraded tech. Lockenstock becomes empowered by the big black blood infusion. I just added big, it's just black blood infusion, increasing his damage done by 15%. This effect stacks. Okay, so he actually ramps up and does 15% more damage after every intermission. Okay. Cool. Anything you guys notice from that? Any questions, comments before we watch that back through and try to catch it? Catch some of those mechanics happening? Yeah, and then the assignments on the foot bombs, and then yeah, other than that, yeah, it's a lot of personal stuff. I think this can be made a lot easier with good strategy and good movement and boss positioning can keep us in a safer spot. So there's definitely some thinking to do about that and optimization. The other thing, oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and it's similar to some other conveyor belt bosses where like the conveyor belt itself pushes you back, but if you can get on the rail, it actually doesn't push you back, so you can stand there and cast, or you can use it to walk faster if you can get on that rail, and it actually doesn't electrocute you on the side. They did some testing on that. At least it didn't in PTR, subject to change, but there are some things to be aware of. And yeah, it seems like it's a really good use of the Warlock Gate as well to get you forward, because the boss like sits right here. It seems very melee unfriendly, unfortunately, for the intermission, but yeah, it is what it is, and it only lasts like 20 seconds. The other thing to note too is these little cheeky conveyor belts here that we were talking about that had the traps on them, probably the Blisterizer Mark II or whatever. These conveyor belts have holes on the side of them. These are holes in the platform, so it's very easy to fall into these holes, and it's easy to fall off the sides. So you have to kind of play pretty safe across the platform. These holes are not supposed to be lethal, we were told, and it should like throw you back on the platform. However, in PTR, it was just killing you. So don't know what will stay there. So. I know, right? Nothing should be counted on, that's for sure. So yeah, just some things to be aware of there. All right, some good comments there. Anybody else before we play it through and try to catch some more things? I'll stay quiet for this one, and you guys can let me know if you see anything. Okay. We play. Boom, boom. Boom. Oh, you guys catch what they're doing there? That's interesting. They didn't set off that fourth bomb. They just let it go off on its own. So they only did the first 3. Activate inventions. Sonic Baboom. There it is. Okay, you did cast it. Alright, this is the healer mechanic. Doesn't seem too bad. This does seem like it'll lag, huh? Yeah. He's got a great setup. But yeah, PTR is notoriously low FPS. Okay, so there. Here's the suck. He's actually getting sucked towards the magnets. Okay, I didn't see that before. They cross. Okay, foot blasters coming out again. They triggered one instantly, the one that's like under melee. Makes sense. That's gotta be scary though. He's getting screw up. Don't get screwed. And he was assigned to pop the last one, the far one. Interestingly, they pop all 4 here. Oh, because they probably don't want it going off here during the intermission, so they want to get it earlier. Okay, so see how the casters are just standing on the edge? And I think you can do the left side too if you wanted. But being on the conveyor belt and the inventions are coming down the conveyor belt, being on the conveyor belt sucks. I don't know what's going on with this intermission, I'll be honest with you. It's really weird the way that's set up, but... And so now he does 15% more damage, right? And the lasers are now empowered with Void. So there's a couple of differences there. So yeah, they had Sonic Baboom there while they were setting off the bombs. And it looks like the bombs are in a set pattern, so we know like where they're going to spawn beforehand, so we could plan all that out. They were saying how the bomb, the other foot bomb over there didn't get triggered by the mechanic like they were expecting it to. PTR bug. Pat that dog is dead. He's feeling great. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow, Wowhead rockets. A little bit of Razageth, little Hans and Franz. Okay, here's that big overlap. We got the electricity, we got the magnet suck, we have the foot bombs, the void, and the sonic pulse. There's like 4 things happening there all at once. Big personal moment. Or just tell Janelor to heal. So those drills spawn on players. I wonder if it's just range. That would be really annoying if those came up in melee. I didn't notice if those spawn on melee. 6-second stun is very annoying. You don't want that. I mean, the dot is nasty too, but the stun is really awful. Yeah, you're probably not living. So you guys see these little, yeah, these traps? I guess these are the ones that launch you into the air and then give you a 60% movement speed buff after you land, if you live it. I wonder if the tanks are supposed to use that for their run out fall off mechanic. They get like launched in the air and run around. That'd be kind of cool. Okay. Probably. No, I don't want to do that. We want the next one. Okay, we are going to go on to the next one unless you guys have any comments before we do on that one. Okay, so that was Sprocketmonger Lockenstock. We went over that pretty thoroughly. Let's now do One-Armed Bandit here, and we'll call it a day. One-Armed Bandit is a dude. It's a slot machine. Check it out. Kind of. It's janky as fuck. I like his star. And then he's got a little arrow that says win. Hell yeah. Okay, and he has some real assistants that come out at some point. All right, cool. Let's check it out and see what we notice. Couple of ads on pull. The coins came out. Okay, now we have more ads, real assistants. There's 3 of them. He's casting something called Big Hit. Looks like on the tank. Oh, and it pulls like shadow stuff, and now there's like heal absorb. Okay. Reward, flame and coin. And it looks like it's just shooting the raid with a minigun. Everybody's getting shot. Wonderful reward. Pay line. Begin. Yeah, you can roll them again. Yep. Not quite. Not quite. Those are separate. It's close. Yeah, but those are 2 separate mechanics. You're thinking these assistants, they'll drop a token. If you walk over it, then you can pick it up and put it in the boss. And that's how you choose what it does. Yep. Those other ones you do need to roll, otherwise they'll explode. But those are the ones that can give you a buff if you get... they'll either stun you if you get hit, but if you get nearly hit, so it's like a risk reward mechanic. If you get close to getting hit but don't get hit, you get a buff. Like a haste buff. Okay, so there's multiple ads. These are like little golden presents. They're saying watch out melee. More coins rolling out. Big hit on the tank. Looks like it leaves behind that puddle as the tank mechanic. Coins rolling through the middle. So we've got 3 new ads. You'll notice they have little icons above them. So there's like a little purple bomb, kind of hard to see, but it's above there. And then there's like a lightning bolt over this one. Oh, there's fire tornadoes. You just got hit by it. It's okay. The warlock? Okay, there's explosions. All right. Just stay calm. It's fine. More heal absorbs. Lots of healing required here. He spins to win. He spin to win. Okay. They're calling in the raid lightning coin. Okay, which is middle left. And what is it? Fire on the right. Looks like they still need to kill the ad that they didn't call, but it's not as much of a priority. Okay. Foul exhaust is what this this heal absorb thing is called. There's a coil on the ground now. Premium currency coil. There's coins rolling around. Like the coins leave a swirly at the end. And then they have a player, like Preheat just ran over and just rolled that coin back through the middle. Big money, big prizes, says the boss. Spin to win. It's casting something called Rigging the Game. Foul exhaust. Payline. Okay, so there's a hyper coil over there. Dude, they're just rolling those coins through melee trying to get those boys some buffs. You know what I'm saying? Okay, there's another hyper coil now on the other side of the room. Okay, so this looks like it's just area denial for the most part. But every time one of those lands, it knocks you back. Okay. Oh, now you're in an area. Okay. And it looks like it's shooting fire out of it as well. There's like lines of fire. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna get on this other side. I don't like being in melee. Okay, cast another pay line. It should. Okay, shooting more fire out. The coins are still going. He's casting something called Explosive Jackpot. Hot heat shot him. An explosive jackpot. Boom. Okay, it just kills you. Okay, so it's like a hard enrage there at the end. Looks like. Cool. Let's see if we can catch some of those abilities here. Okay, so at the beginning, he casts Spin to Win. The one-armed bandit pulls its big arm, calling in reel assistance and spinning the reels rapidly for 30 seconds. Defeating an assistant makes it drop a token, which players can deposit into the one-armed bandit to lock it in. When 2 tokens are locked in, the fabulous prize is dispensed. Fraud detected. The one-armed bandit successfully cheats when not enough tokens are deposited or a previously selected reel combination is locked in, permanently increasing damage done by 500%. Okay, so it's a wipe if you don't deposit the tokens or if you deposit the same ones twice. So you have to like go through different combos and never return to the same one. So we've got all these combos here: coin and bomb, coin and shock, flame and coin, flame and bomb, shock and bomb, shock and flame. Some of them drop coils. Looking at this, we may not read through all of it. It's like there's some of them have raid damage. What's kind of interesting as well, when you were watching through testing, if you were, is the bombs typically will summon, like the bomb combos will summon ads. Some of the bomb combos are CCable. You can stun them, slow them, root them, knock them back, all of that. Some of them are not CCable. It's not super obvious which ones are and whether or not they should be, so that's just something to be aware of. Different other combinations like flame and coin, coin and shock, these are just raid damage for the most part, but they just have like a different flavor on them. So it looks like there is a explosive shrapnel on every one of the prizes. Activating a coil. Oh, so it drops a coil sometimes, and the tank can activate the coil, inflicting nearly 20 million physical damage to themselves and triggers the coil's effect. In addition, okay, so the coil goes off, does some stuff, but it also draws and absorbs in the 2 nearest shocking fields, which is probably the stuff we were seeing from the tank, the big hit thing. So you can actually clear, if the tank wants to pop a big cooldown and you want to be aware of the coil and what it does, you can actually clear some of the room, it looks like. I don't think they were doing that in this pull, but it's something that can be done. Yeah, all of this looks like raid damage. It's basically either raid damage or ads, it looks like, for the most part. Coin and bomb. So when they fixate you, explosion does fire damage and fire damage over time. So yeah, there's just ads that fixate you. All right, let's learn about the real assistants. They cast something called Overload, which is interruptible. Okay, so they're kickable. I don't think I noticed that from the first playthrough. Massive jolt of electricity, inflicting 1 million nature damage to all players and knocking them back. Okay, so that's kind of annoying. And definitely kickable and worth kicking. They also cast something called Withering Flames, which is a magic effect, so it's dispellable. Real assistants wrap flames around a player, inflicting 1 million fire damage every 1 second for 20 seconds. It's a 20-second debuff. This Inferno reduces the target's maximum health by 2% every time the flames inflict damage. Upon removal, traveling flames erupt outward from the player. Wow. That's interesting. So you definitely want to dispel that earlier, and it doesn't say. I guess you probably get your health back when that's dispelled, right? Or are you just reduced for the rest of the fight? That seems too punishing. I bet you get your health back when you get dispelled, but that's something to be aware of. That's interesting. Traveling flames. Colliding with traveling flames, like Kalamazoo did, inflicts 2.5 million fire damage and knocks them back. If you're a warlock, you live, no problem. Electric blast. Real assistance blasts its target. This is not stunnable or interruptible, it doesn't look like. Every 2 seconds of 1 million nature damage for 6 seconds. Electricity arcs off the target and inflicts more nature damage to all other players. Okay, this effect stacks. Yeah, so you definitely want those assistants to die relatively quickly. Golden ticket. Each time the one-armed bandit spins its reels, it gains 5% attack speed. So this effect stacks. Tank's something to be aware of. It starts hitting you faster and faster. Melee. Okay, I saw Payline, but I didn't see what was happening. So Payline, the one-armed bandit rolls. Oh, this is the casino chip. Okay, towards players, causing anyone caught in its path to become crushed. Players who stand near the path become a high roller. Upon reaching its destination, the chip then falls over, inflicting 5 million nature damage to players within 15 yards, with an additional 1 million nature damage to all players. Okay, so it does a little bit of raid damage when it hits the wall and then drops off. Players may roll these chips back. So if you stand close to it but don't get hit by it, you become a high roller, increasing your damage and healing done by 10% and movement speed by 30% for 15 seconds. Okay, so this may be, if this is a damage check, this may be something you want to be aware of. Or if you are a Parse Lord, greasy, sweaty person, then you want to get close to those chips and do more damage. Players rolled over by the chips are crushed underneath it, suffering 5 million physical damage and becoming stunned for 8 seconds. So it's a risk-reward scenario, right? If you want to get close to it, and if you're good about controlling your movement, then you get rewarded. If you are not, you get heavily punished. Up the ante. When Payline chip is in play, the one-armed bandit's damage done is increased by 5%, and this effect stacks for each token. Okay, so I think this is the reason why you roll it back against the wall, because I think it gets rid of it after you roll it the next time. And you can choose the direction when you click on it and you roll it the second time. So if you want to play it super safe, you can roll the coins like away from the group and just into the wall. But if you want to play it risky and get people buffs, you can roll the coin through either melee or ranged or whatever and try and give it to them, or try and stun somebody and troll them. Sounds like a good job for Banna. All right. The one-armed bandit blasts players as the fallow exhaust. Half a second for, so 3 stacks, each blast absorbing 1 million. So 3 million absorbed damage. The effect persists as long as they're still absorbed out there. It does shadow damage every 1 second and reduces movement speed. That's really interesting. There's a lot of things baked into that. Cool. Tank mechanic, the big hit. The one-armed bandit slams its big arm into the ground, inflicting 24 million physical damage to its target, increasing their damage taken from the big hit by 350% for 30 seconds. The effect stacks. Leaves a shocking field. The field takes 75% increased damage and suffer 629,000 nature damage every 1 second. So it doesn't do that much damage standing in it, but you're taking 75% increased damage from all their sources while it's there, so it's definitely some area denial. Maybe tanks can control where that gets hit, so that's a good thing. All right, stage 2, the game is rigged. Cheat to win. The one-armed bandit cheats the system and determines its own results in a specific order. Linked machine. 3 shock symbols causes the one-armed bandit to periodically create hypercoils. A hypercoil knocks all players in the creation or activation is linked to the one-armed bandit with a voltaic streak. So yeah, people were getting knocked back for sure. Voltaic streak crossing the beam is 2.2 million nature damage every 0.3 seconds to the players. Okay, crossing the beam is rough. Explosive shrapnel. Activating the coil. So tanks can still click on the coil. It will knock players back, but it will clear some of the shocking fields on the ground. So if that's something we need to do to create some room there towards the end, we can do that. We just need to know that we're going to be getting knocked back, I believe. Okay, and this is the thing that Kalamazoo died to at the end. Hot heat. 3 flame symbols causes blazing flames to erupt from the one-armed bandit, marking random players for 5 seconds. Upon the expiration, a line of flames blasts out towards them and the one-armed bandit, inflicting 3.7 million fire damage to all players struck. So take that out of the group and make sure you're not in between the boss and the player that's getting hit by that. Scattered payout. 3 coin symbols causes the one-armed bandit to fire golden coins wildly, inflicting 1.2 million physical damage to all players every 2 seconds until it is destroyed. Interesting. Okay, so it's like a little bit of a soft enrage there. And then the explosive jackpot. It doesn't even tell you how much damage it does. It just says killing everybody painfully. Let's go, dude. That's so good. It does payline. So there's still coins in this last phase. So you can get the high roller, get crushed, up the ante. So if they're still around, you can still get the buff. He still does foul exhaust, still does big hit in this last phase. But he's rigged the game and he's choosing basically 3 fire, 3 coin, or 3 shock, it looks like, and bomb is not present in this one. Cool. I read through that in a super boring manner. Anybody have anything they noticed or comments about that? Oh, Yerple's here. Hello. Definitely. That's the fire. You want to be gambling. That's a very interesting question. So I didn't see them attempt to knock them. I also didn't see they don't have a DK. So it's definitely, if you could grip them, you definitely should. But I don't know that they are grippable. No. So you do want to kill them. You have to kill all 3. But what happens is the assistants either have like, you know, coin on them or shock or fire or bomb, like one of those four above their head. When they die, they drop a little token on the ground, and players need to, we'll probably assign who's doing it, pick up the token and put it into the boss. And so that's what matters as far as the order, but they all three of them need to die. I think it makes the most sense to kill the two that you want to put into the boss first, and then let the other one kind of die to dots and range and havoc and stuff like that, and drag the boss in between the two that you need to kill first. But unless you're killing, I've never seen them do this, but unless you're killing the two on the outside and leaving the one in the middle, then I don't know what you do in that section. You probably just take it to one side, cleave them both, and then just have the coin people deposit it. But yeah, it's not based on which one you kill first. It's the tokens, and you get like an extra action button, and you use it so you can control it a little bit more than that. Yeah, definitely worth testing. Throw a grip on it and see what happens. Yeah. My suspicion is that it doesn't work, because I would have probably seen it happen, but maybe nobody did it. Just didn't try it. So that's possible. It's just PTR, and they just get an hour, so not a long time to spend with the boss. Okay, cool. Let's watch that through one more time, and then we'll call it a night. Let me know if you see anything or want to make a comment on some things that you see on the way through. Let me go back here a little bit. There we go. I wonder if this is going to be a Lust on Pull Boss. I think so, because I think it goes into the second phase not on a percent, but after you've done enough combos of the tokens. Spin to win. 3 assistants pop out, and they choose. Now, something to notice here too is that it keeps track of the combos you've done. So these combos here in the back on the side are actually the ones that are still available to do. Once you do the combo and you put them in and he gives you that reward, this reward disappears from up here and you can't do it again. So there's like a little, almost a built-in weak aura for this fight, although people will build a weak aura anyway, but it's there. So there's coin token on the ground. Looks like Nephilim picked it up and put it in, and this one on the right. And then they're just going to finish off. And I think as long as they do that within 30 seconds of the assistants coming out, then they're okay. So there's some of the coins. So he's complaining because he did not get the buff, and it rolled by him pretty close. So to Imper's point, let's see if we can catch how close that was to him. There it was, right there. And actually, to that point as well, if you, let's see if we can catch it here. So he's gonna roll these coins. There it is. So this is this is what shows you that the coin is coming out and in which direction. So that's the indicator right there. This is about the width of where it would stun you. So you'd want to stand like right next to it if you want to guarantee to get a buff. So Preheat's already picked up on that here. He's trying to do that. But it's pretty subtle. Actually, it's really easy to miss. And that's a 6-second stun, so that's really annoying. So I hope they make that indicator just a little bit more obvious, and you'll notice it disappears just before the coins come out too. So it disappears here and then the coin comes out. So it feels like almost like, I don't know, it's just not a great telegraph. Could be a bit more obvious. There's a coin. So he tried to get a buff there and he didn't. Big money, big prizes. Bomb coin. So bomb is in the middle, coin's on the right, and shock's on the left, and they're choosing not to do shock. So bomb coin here. We'll see what comes out of him when we do bomb coin. So he is spawning. I think he'll spawn ads here. Premium currency booty. Explosive gaze. Probably fixated on some players. Doesn't look like they're able to stun them and knock them back. That coin rolled by him fairly close, like within 3 yards or so, and he still didn't get the buff. There you go. He got it. So that's what it looks like right there. So he got this 15-second buff. He's 10 seconds in. The high roller buff. Let's see how close he was to that. We'll play that back just so you guys can see what it was doing in PTR at least. I think that's long enough. Okay, so let's watch this coin come by close. And this is a successful buff get. There he is. Yep, he's very close. Maybe within 2 yards or something like that. Shockfire. This should be raid damage, or actually Shockfire I think is a coil that radiates fire tornadoes. So, okay, yeah, it is. Coil radiates fire tornadoes. Not too bad. Payline, watch those coins. Actually, it would be kind of cool since there doesn't seem to be too much else going on. If like the damage check was so tight, you needed like a lot of players in the raid to be getting the buff every time to actually catch it. I hope this is tuned really well. This fight could be very cool. Good kick, Terrasant. So it looked like you Ring of Peace an ad there. It's the fiery dynamic booty. So maybe the fiery ads, bomb fire, can be CC'd. Coin coming through melee. Okay. And it looks like when they die. Okay, boss is at 30%. Does he rig the game here? Or when does he do it? He said error, offline, rebooting. Okay, rig the game. So it's just the 30%. I wonder if this is where you lust then. You might actually lust at 30%. We'll see. So you can see he's got 3 shocks there. Oh, he's stunned in this. Okay, he's a warlock. It's fine. They're trying to stay stacked here. Yeah, right. No, Rob's Lamau. Okay, so he's got the fire, so this should be the hot heat. So watch the arrows on certain players. Yeah, okay. That's not that obvious to see. Like who's in that line. Some more hot heat lines. Oh, interesting. They're playing the raid in front of the boss and then taking those players out to the side. Yeah, they're much more organized here. Pay line, watch the coins coming out. Oh, those lines. It's right at him. Oh, he dodged it. Okay. 4% left. He is ramping. Oh, they got knocked back into the coils. Oh. explosive jackpot, and it killed him. I didn't have enough. Yeah, I think that's a less than 30% angle, maybe, if that's still tuned the way that is. Awesome. Cool. I think that's going to be it for tonight, but do you guys have any other comments or questions before we move on? What a beard. Well played, sir. Hell yeah. Did you see that when you hop on the trash pile that it plays a like special like original soundtrack that's like unique to the trash pile rolling, and so it's like signifies like, hey, you're doing a special event right now, and the music is actually really fire while you're on it and rolling around. I This tier is definitely an in-game music tier. If you guys haven't checked out the music for this tier, it's insane. It's like jazzy, it's like dirty, it's just so goblin-y, it's sick. It's so good. So far, yeah, I would say so. I would agree. Cool. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank